Hi there. I am Kululwa Mutwa, and welcome to this segment of Property Market Moves. In this episode, I'm sitting with, what do I call you? I mean, I know with Babsola, I said, a legend, and that word is just springing up when I'm thinking of you, because, Sis P, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting us. Yeah, now I suppose I'm Portia. I said to somebody, I think somewhere where I was speaking, I said, I know they call me that my middle name is Transformation, but yeah, Portia Transformation.
So, yeah, and I mean, whilst you do transformation, I think you are just so much more than that. But we're going to dive into it. So, yes, they call you then Portia Transformation. Sekati. And who is Portia?
Yes. Sometimes I also try and figure out who I am, because every day is like, which jacket am I wearing? Yeah. Am I wearing like a female in the sector? Am I the youngster in the sector and the newcomers? Who am I seeing? And what role are they playing? So I suppose you sometimes have to put yourself in the shoes of a lot of the people that you also see. And for me in transformation, I don't see it really as weird to kind of just see you yourself as different things and different people, because you can only be able sometimes to translate what people go through.
Yeah.
If you put yourself also in those shoes, where people sometimes have to wait their turn, when other people opportunities just come to them on a silver plate. And then you say, what is that person feeling?
Sure.
So for me, yes, I'm Portia, and I'm humbled to be running the Property Sector Charter Council. And I've been in the shoes for a while. But I'm a female who's a mother, very proud mother of 2 sons, and very close extended family. So it's 2 sons plus.
Yeah.
So, and obviously a wife.
Yeah.
But really, I think I do consider myself also a student in a lot of time, but at the same time I consider myself sometimes also a teacher, where you teach other people sometimes, but also you listen deeply to learn as well from others that have come before you, that have experienced a lot more than you would have experienced, and that can tell more stories. So I suppose there's no one definition if I had to answer it. Yes, we play in this role, but even in the role, we wear different jackets every day. You wear shoes that fits every day. If it's a marathon, you run. If it's a walk, you run. You walk. We do different things, and the flexibility to be able to embrace what you need to do at the time. It's actually what makes it powerful, I think.
Sure. I love that. I think the student and the teacher, I think what just came to me is like, for you to be a teacher, actually, you have to be a good student.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was, funny enough, I was saying also to, over the weekend, my son was playing soccer and they lost, and he doesn't like losing. But sometimes you have to lose to know what it means to win. Because if you won all the time, you wouldn't know what it means to lose, and you wouldn't have the excitement. It dies out eventually because you've always won, right? So that's why for me, sometimes they always say success is a bad teacher. Failure is the greatest teacher. So because when you fail, then you know. When you are always successful, it doesn't teach you anything.
You don't even pay attention, you just cruise.
Yeah, you just say, I know this thing was and before you know it, you would be stuck in what you know. You wouldn't want to know any more than you would think I've got the tool. So I suppose being a student really brings you being able to do things and being able to listen to things that you don't know. And of course, there's no one perspective that crafts everything, right?
Absolutely.
So you have an open mind and you learn even more. Even if you were right, the point is, if you're a student and you listen deeply, then it teaches you you know why you are right. It gives you the reason to understand why you were right. But if you were wrong, then it gives you a reason to say, that's another perspective that I didn't know and I didn't necessarily pay attention to.
And how did you start doing this transformation work? Did it start when you got to the Sector Charter Council, or did it? Is it something that has just been within you?
You know, when I started, actually, I've been in the sector for a while, but before I came into particularly the Property Sector Charter Council, I served and I started National Association of Real Estate Agencies.
Okay.
I think that was an association. And today it's really an equivalent of Ribosa.
Yeah.
And it was really these big agencies, residential agents, owners that were pulling themselves together, and that they also realized that, okay, sitting by ourselves in our little corner and doing our thing without necessarily understanding what we need to do as a country, where government is thinking, was not necessarily also progressive. So they started an association, and I remember getting a call from a friend, actually, or somebody that I knew, that said, do you please come and talk to this agent? I said, listen, I can't even spell property. What am I coming to do? First, so I said, no, for a long time. Eventually, he called me about 6 times in one day from morning to afternoon. Eventually I said, okay, I'll come. But I remember, and then I left. And I really, when I stood in there, I went in saying, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming because I just want to hear. And I said, I won't die. I'm going to hear. And in any case, it will help me to make an informed decision. But I know I'm not a property person, right? So I was executive somewhere in another business. So I'm comfortable where I am.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to stay there. But I left, and I think during the conversation, and it was all the leaders, the very well-known leaders in the residential, they were sitting all around the table, and everybody was posing the questions and interviewing me. And I think something sprang out of me at that particular moment that said to me, there's an opportunity to actually make a purposeful change. There's an opportunity to be able to understand and create the shift. And that was before I was even in the charter, right? And indeed, and when that pin dropped, I remember I probably didn't hear the next question. All I said is that, yes, I'll take it. That was it. Because it was just, it happened at the spur of a moment. I came in, it was like, no, I'm not, I can't spell property, okay? Yeah. And they were talking, and I was answering or talking, and I kept on. I went into the little mind world of my own, and with the realization what everybody else was saying, says, here's an opportunity to actually make a purposeful life and make a purposeful change in the country. And when that pin dropped, that's when I think I said yes, and said, but what are you saying yes to? Yes to whatever you're gonna say. Yes, yeah. And that was the start. And there and then the conversation then changed. Says, this is what I do. Do you think we can do it? So they took the yes to mean, oh, you're saying yes. Okay, this is what we want to do. And that was it. So from that conversation, I think it all started. And it started obviously with a very small sector of the business, but an important sector, but a very small segment of the business. And because we did that, and we were working with a lot of systematic barriers that we had. Yeah. And then I got a call, from Andy Tondi. He says, Portia, we really need you to come and help us this side, and so on. And that's how really I then went into the property charter, and only to realize the little part of which I was working with was only just a portion. There is many other portions and segments that make up that bigger portion of the piece that needed to be done. And sometimes some of them are further away, some of them are even closer, but they are all at different stages and phases in their lives where we needed to make a change. So
Now you say that when that call came, you were comfortable elsewhere, couldn't even spell property.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. I mean, you know that too, right? And now you're so fluent, in it. And a lot of the times I think people will rule themselves out because they don't know, something or a particular sector and think that they can't do the work. So to that person who's sitting, thinking that I can't do it because I'm not from that environment, what would what does that teach them about how you stepped into it? And literally, I mean, you there's nothing that you don't know about the sector. And yes, you've been in the sector for some time, but what did you do, when you stepped into those roles to make sure that you are fluent in it and you can lead effectively?
Yeah, look, I mean, one of the big parts, I think, for me is, I think stakeholder management was important. Being able to map up our stakeholders and understanding where they come from was one portion of it. But that on its own was just not enough. So when I say stakeholder person mapping was who's there, what are they doing, how are they doing it, what do they think, what is their culture, and so on. So that was one portion of it. But you would know that also that another big part was research, right? But research also on its own, it's one part that we did a lot of research and we still continue to do so. But research, the more you do, the more you realize how little you know. Yeah. So as you unpack this thing, you said, is there still more inside? And then you realize there's more. And when you get, when you peel it open, it's like an onion. When you peel it open, you cry even more when you peel it open. So the more you know, the more you realize how much you need to know.
Yeah.
And it carries on. And I don't think at any given point in time, and I think as much you would say, I know quite a bit, I don't even think I'll get to a point where I say, I know it all.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. No, there is no time where that would reach. And I would say that would be go for everyone, that you appreciate the fact that, especially as we grow, but that comes also with the appreciation that you are innovating, you are growing, the industry is growing, it's changing. So that's what will become of it, all continuously. Nobody will ever say we will know more.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are happening. You know that obviously, as much as what we knew at the time, COVID also redefined things. And as we redefine things, things move on, things that we thought we knew. I mean, when we used to talk about shareholder value, people would say, oh no, we need to actually grow the shareholder value. There's nothing about shareholder value anymore. Those that we've seen times in our lives where shareholder value at the snap of a finger, it just disappeared until you start to talk about stakeholder value, understanding everybody, that it's not just about making money out of somebody, but how they live, why it is important, making a social cohesion and make how you live with them, becomes important, and why it is important. So these theories are coming up, and at this point in time, it has become even worse, where, boundaries have become so boundaryless.
Yeah.
Like what we know here is as good as what Switzerland knows, because things move and shift so quickly, so easily. The technology, the disruption with the technology has become so much. So what shifts very quickly. But the one thing that somebody says, until you have spent insurmountable amount of hours, 1,000 and beyond, you're not an expert in anything. You are just in the process of learning. So yes, and even experts, yes, they are experts, but there's still a lot more that they need to know. So we are learning, and I'm on the path, and I continue to learn. And I know even in I'm doing a research paper as well now that I'm writing. So, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Every day is the world of learning. And if we all open our minds, and I think that's the only place that we will grow. So yes, even when we think we know, we realize
so much more that
there is still so much more that there is still to learn. And if we open our mind, our ears, our eyes, and be open and have an open mind and have an open view, we will get to learn even much more.
I know that from a property charter perspective, I mean, when we speak transformation, we will speak to, the codes, but how would you break down transformation for you in the most basic, and has that changed from when you started doing this work?
So much more has changed. Transformation in South Africa, it's more legislative. It's more about BEE and BEE and the scorecard. And a lot of it, when you talk transformation, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm level 2, level 3. That's what it's out." You know what? That is not what transformation is. Level 2, level 1, it's an outcome of the efforts that your organization has put in what was crafted in that legislation, the points, and then what you got under the points. That is it's actually the minor part of the whole thing. Transformation in its full entirety, and I remember having that kind of a engagement discussion long time when I sat at the presidential BEE. Transformation in our country is about sustainability. It's about productivity. It's about innovation. It's about global competitiveness. And we don't say that enough. It's about making our economy stable, sustainable, growing, innovative. We don't say that enough. We tend to talk about level. I'm level 2, 3, 4, whatever the number is, more than what it's meant to do. But here's what it's all about. As much as this is what it's meant to do. Transformation, it's honestly and really about, there is no chance whatsoever, absolutely no slighter chance that our country would be able to reach its optimal growth unless everybody participates in it. I mean, in a country where there's about 66 million, of which 98% are Black. And Black, I mean African, colored, and Indians. And we only allow 8% to play in the hardcore economy and the rest in the periphery. There's no chance we will reach that desired growth. So transformation is about being able to get our country to a point where everybody has got an equal opportunity to play in an equal playing field, have got an equal opportunity that comes to them. They don't have to wait. They are not overlooked. They are not ignored. The talent is not ignored. The potential is not overlooked. Others get funding on a plate, while others say, "Oh no, sit there and wait your turn," or "Keep quiet. We'll call you when we need you." That kind of it. So transformation in its true sense, it's not even about anyone, but it's about the whole country. It's not about bringing these people in the economy. It's that our country will never thrive. We will not get there. We just don't have a choice and an option. And only if we can start to realize it. And you talk about, "Oh, we're not growing." Oh, are you the same person that we're not growing? That's just saying, "I don't have time to look at this thing." Where do you think the growth will come from? From where?
So it's about getting as many people as we can around the table
to participate and participate properly. So, I mean, and I know a lot of these words could be very cliche to a lot of people. Say, so what does innovation have to talk about? So listen, if you are used to serving a particular type of person, and now you broaden yourself and you change the way your customer changes, you have to come up with another way of how you're going to serve the new client, right? That's part of innovativeness. That innovation, the more you broaden up, the more you actually open the scope for global competitiveness. We can't afford to be left behind anymore. So transformation, honestly speaking, is much, much broader. Now, let's talk about the point that says, is it what it was when it started? There's a lot of things that have changed. Technology has come up with so many things that are redefining a whole lot of things. Actually, quite frankly, Monday this week,
Yeah.
Minister of DTI, Pakstow, actually says we are re-looking at how this thing needs to be done. So, and that's because there's just a lot of things that have changed. I mean, one way in particular in our sector, you look at the listed sector or even the REITs, majority of them used to have their assets in South Africa, but some of them they've created the diversity that it's not only here, it's also in Europe, it's also in Eastern Europe, it's also in other countries, in elsewhere. So they've diversified. So it's not just only about what it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's also about how do we create this transformation, which is also inward looking in our country as well. How do we also broaden it as well, that even those that have assets outside, how do we bring them in? And property is not the only one. Think about IT.
Yeah.
That people that have softwares and technology, because it's the same thing when you have assets across. How do we make sure procurement is happening? Who are they employing? Are they employing the right people? It's the same conversation that the Amazon, the Shein and Sense said, but are they paying tax? Where is it? Where is the tax going? Are we losing what South Africa would have? So we do need to review that part of it as well, because there has been a lot of changes. We need to review. So I was pleased to actually see the note that says when the Minister of the DTI to say we will be re-looking and reviewing transformation to fit into all these new changes. But what it was, yes, it is certainly a good strategy, a strategy that I feel it shouldn't be optional to a lot of people. People who are invested in a country, people that want to be here, people that want to see growth. It's not optional. It's a necessity. If you want to grow, yes, if you're going to be sleeping and money will just be coming in from wherever it comes in, maybe you're okay. But if you want to be participating in our country, and you want to be able to see the growth, and actually even sleeping, it won't help, because if you're not doing anything, the inequality will open up. You won't sleep as comfortably too long if that inequality broadens.
Absolutely. There's actually something that stuck with me that you said in one platform, and I think what it boiled down to was the day when those who don't have, who are excluded, have nothing to lose, then we are in trouble. Because I think essentially it was about ensuring that we bring as many people in as possible so that they participate in the economy. To lessen, the number of people who are actually out there looking to loot. And I think it was not far from that time when we had the looting. I think that stuck with me, that when they have got nothing to lose.
Yes, and Kulula spot on. I mean, I think what was I say? If you fight with somebody that have nothing to lose, you've lost before you start. They have got nothing to lose. They have nothing. And that we've seen in our lifetime. And I think we will see it again in our lifetime if we don't change our mentality. And you can relate in 2021 when those malls were looted.
Yeah.
People were not even shying away from the cameras, were they? They were facing it right on. They did not care. So it was a taste of things to come, only just at the beginning of it, They just carried on. It was as if it was okay to do it, and as if there is a reason for them to do what they are doing. So, but the point though is that, life would judge some of us very harshly if we are sitting in the platforms that are able to make those change, but did not do anything about it. So, and I think for me, it is that point that we cannot carry on. And that's why even till today, I mean, I say, even when you sit in very comfortable with people that are in a comfortable seats and say, you cannot just talk about shareholder value. Those are the times where that shareholder value, at a snap of a finger, that mall that existed didn't exist after a few hours after it went up. It was unfortunate, and I still feel it was unfortunate. But I hope also we've also learned things about, it's not about people that come and buy. It's not their money that is just important, but is how do they live? And how does my business immerse myself into these communities so that they feel they are part of that business? It's not just the money that they bring that is important, but making sure that we close the inequality. So that's what transformation actually does, and help us in terms of doing. I mean, even when we build those malls in the township, in the rural areas, what does it do? So one of the elements is economic development that we have, which is doing development where under normal circumstances you would not consider that place to be viable to do the development. Let's say you say Hammersdale, for an example. You say, oh, who's in Hammersdale? I'm sure they can catch a taxi to wherever. Or, I mean, long time ago, whoever thought that in Soweto you'd have so many malls? They say, oh, go to Sandton City. When we grew up, there were no malls where we lived. But what does it bring when you start to bring these assets? It doesn't only change their lives. They're able to access ATMs. So they're able to transact. You're just able to make, like, you're transforming their lives. But okay, and maybe this urban township is, it's not such a good example. But when you get to rural townships, you pull water. You start to pull electricity. You drive, you put a road, you give connectivity. Suddenly those people have got, lights. Okay, there had to be a substation for us to be lights. And then there's light. There has to be water. So life changes in that way. Because, and not to mention the fact that there are still people that live, and unfortunately in our same country, people that still travel 2-3 hours just to go withdraw 50 rand.
My goodness.
And you say, and those people,
how much are you spending to withdraw 50 rand?
50 rand. And by the way, probably in your trip, you pray that the ATM is working because of connectivity, because of load shedding. And you pray that there is money in that ATM because probably it services more than enough people, right? So you pray there's money there, it's working. So you could actually, the money that you need is the money that you're going to pay for transport.
Goodness.
You pay what, 20 rand to go withdraw 50 rand? I mean,
that is inhumane. That is terrible.
And you and I step out of this gate, we say, which one? Let's see, which options? Right? We have choices and options. And it's not only, okay, and maybe money, well, that's still a necessity. But what about people that also, Kulula, that have the people that they lose their loved ones, right? And they have to go to Home Affairs to get a death certificate so that they can bury. People that still spend 5 weeks before they bury people.
Sure.
Because Home Affairs is only so 5 hours away.
They get there late and they have to wait in long queues. They can't be attended that day.
And connectivity. So today you go, and it only opens once a week sometimes. It doesn't open every day. So you go the first Thursday, there's no electricity. Second Thursday, there's no connectivity. You go the fourth Thursday, Kulula was supposed to put the stamp, is absent. She's got a cough. You go the fourth Thursday, next one, you only to go then, like the fifth one, then to start your burial. In that process, what is happening? You're losing, and you know how it is in rural areas. People keep on coming and pouring in, and you need more and more. Oh my goodness. So, and that is the reality of our country.
Sure.
It's still happening. So the idea of actually being able to bring this transformation closer to people. So when we say to the likes of Public Works, create precincts that have the necessities in every way, that says, yes, you'll have offices. And whether it's yours or whether it's a private sector, but you bring the necessary Home Affairs, police station, whatever is people that would need, then it gets closer to those people. Yes, we've come a long way. We have a lot more than we had before. But is it still enough? No, it's not enough. And I do hear, though, that we're still not doing enough. There's still, and what I would like to appreciate, though, is that when the government, the new government of 1994, take it through, where brought us through from an economic transformation, we had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. And as much as, yes, and there's a lot that we can say, you still need to do this and that we still need to count.
Yeah.
But somebody had to close the gap, a very wide gap. We talk about electricity. There was only 10% of the South Africa that had electricity. Somebody had to close that gap. There's no excuse that they shouldn't have maintained Eskom, whatever infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
They should have. But we had 90% that we needed to close. Did anybody says, here's a system and here's what you need to close that barrier to get to where we are? So the question is, yes, there's a lot to do and there's a lot they should have done and they should have done right. But nobody ever talks about from where we were to where we are now. What was meant to happen in the middle? By who? By what? Where are the resources? And how much of they? Who contributed? Whoever said, here's what you have, close the gap, make it real. And trust me, I'm not saying, I am by no slightest imagination, I'm saying what happened in Tembisa Hospital is right. But at the same time, I'm saying it does not mean whatever happened in Tembisa, you can take that brush and brush everybody else with it.
Everything that has happened.
And brush everybody else with it. No, I'm not saying that is not, it's not the case. So they can't, but somebody also needs to be able to say, what did we need to do to even get to a point that we can even have a decent conversation and you and I can sit here and talk about anything.
So, and I think you've touched, somewhat to it, but beyond, titles, codes, transformation, compliance, beyond all of those, how can leaders leave transformation on a day-to-day? So if I am the CEO of this entity, or it doesn't even matter what role actually, how can we leave transformation on a day-to-day, or at least, come in the mind of transformation? There may be small things that we do on a daily that will, over time, will actually show us different results.
Yeah. And you touched on the word, and the word is actually is also, it's a mind shift. Yeah. And it's not about just, we mustn't make transformation secondary or an afterthought, or I'll come to it. It must be engraved as part of who we are and what we do. So I think for me, and you first start with yourself before you can even transfer it to the next person.
Yeah. Because
it is in that when a leader, so first of all, it must be intentional and it must be purposeful. So you must know it, it mustn't be, where's that transformation? There's a strategy, there's a business strategy, and then there's, what did we get for the scorecard? Who's doing that? It must be engraved within part of it as well. So it must form part of that, of the business. When you say, as much as you say the word business and you say profitability and growth, it must be engraved in it, right? So, but the biggest part is, and you must see it in every single thing, whether be it in recruitment, when you recruit, whether be it in procurement, when you procure, whether be, so it must be in every single layer, not just next layer, this is important. It must be in every single layer. And I think the minute we make it purposefulness and we are intentional about it, very elaborate about it, and you actually do. So who are you mentoring? Okay, hold on. Why are they not part of it? Why has this person always been part of a learnership, or part of, they must go through the skill development? Because sometimes I feel that we do a lot of skill development. Women, they need to be, go to a master class. I always feel sometimes, Lokshin will say, "Bakpetenge half clash," which is just like, just keep them holding there and saying they are learning, so that they are not yet there, But how long would the half clash be? How long are you keeping them at bay while you are carrying on? Are you waiting to finish?
Yeah.
And when you are done and say, oh, maybe you can come along, because you feel that people are saying they are emerging. How long are they going to be emerging for? Why are they never emerged? Hey? And what are you doing about it if they're emerging and you've got the potential and the possibility
emerging
to
perpetually.
emerge? Perpetually. Hey? And especially you see it in women, you see it and the funny part is that it's just certain to happen to be certain people.
Yeah.
Well, in South Africa, they happen to be black. And then women, they happen to be even further than that. And then the youth, the disabled. So why is it a certain class? Funny enough is that they're not those others that seems to be. You're never in the emerging like the rest of us. You're never in the. We see the same people in those emerging. So I think the point that I make in answering your question, though, is that as leaders, we need to have the courage to be able to sometimes have to shift the mind, sometimes in an uncomfortable manner, that people start to understand what fairness is about, what access is about, what inclusion is about. So you need to create, and sometimes you need to also even question your own biases.
Yeah.
So do I have biases in mind that sometimes, I mean, I'll tell you a conversation of, an interview of a very senior person that was being interviewed at a CEO level. And when in that conversation ended up with two potential people, a male and a female. And the question in that conversation as the hiring was about to happen says, no, let's take, and of course the female performed, outperformed the male. Clean square. It was absolutely clean and square. But it was, no, let's take that male. Oh, the female, still young, still going to get pregnant and still. And I said, excuse me. So was her fault is having a womb now
working against her?
Yeah. Just being a female. And it's just because she's going to get married, she's going to have kids. Is that an excuse that, and funny enough, in that conversation, there were some females that seemed to have agreed with that conversation. And I said, geez, when did that become now a negative point from just being who you are, who you had no control over? You were just born like that. And by the way, it takes, for you to have a child, it takes two parents, right? It takes parent, a male and a female. But because you're going to bear the child, now that's going to work against you. No ways, not under our. And that's when you stand courageous and say, you said she's good. But because she's going to have to take 6 months or whatever months away, she's not
no
good
longer
enough.
Good enough. Yeah.
She's not good enough. Now, those are the biases. And not to realize that when people say it, they don't. And I would like to believe that they were not, it wasn't conscious. It was so subconscious. This is how much the biasness has so deeply engraved in their minds that they don't even now realize it anymore. It's so subconscious to say, no, not that one. She's still going to have kids. We don't have time. And I said, geez. So, but the question is, how far does that go? So how many times has that happened? How many times has it happened where nobody questioned and it says, oh yeah, let's go? Or how many of those conversations has happened and there was nobody to question it?
Yeah.
And it just went by smoothly and easily.
So we go with the convenient candidate.
We go,
because
and
he doesn't have a womb.
Yeah, they're convenient in inverted commas because it, our biases are feeding our mind and say we go with that one. So how often has it happened? And that's just one scenario, right?
Yeah.
How many times, and that's just a scenario of being a female. How many times does it happen in many other scenarios of people that they don't look the part, or oh no, she's not, okay, give it to this one, and because of our biases. So I think, the courage for leaders to stand up, to be purposeful, to have that vision, but not only to also say it, they must live it. people must see them living it. People actually get taught more about what you do than what you say.
Yeah.
So you must leave it and you must do it. And they must know even in their sleep that you talk about that one, we can tell you what she's going to say because she's done it, and they can see it in every single one until it's so engraved into the culture that, yes, when we recruit, that's what we do. When we procure, this is what we do. When we mentor, this is what we do. This is how we choose, and this is what we do. Yes, nobody says, by the way, go for mediocre. I'm not a chance that I'm actually even saying that by its so point. But the point though is when people keep on saying, but I can't find any. It says, where are you looking? In a country where 98% is black, you can't find bad people that are good. There is no chance.
And if you can't find them, what are you doing about it? Because that means there's a problem that needs to be solved.
What are you doing about it? But also, I'm telling, even our sector, we're guilty of it, I must tell you. We're also very big and guilty of it. I mean, we talk about a country that has now since become 9.4 trillion. And we've looked at, in a while, we've looked at a lot of our CEOs, CFOs, even in the listed entities.
Yeah.
And by the way, a lot of them are from the finance sector. And by the way, there's nothing wrong in the finance sector being because that's what listed sector is all about. But have we groomed our own? Have we put money and skills in saying, we need them to understand finance, but their product is property. Have we groomed them? We've actually, most of the times, we've let them, the financial sector groom them so that we get them cooked.
Yeah.
So we would like to claim our heavy and boldness and how big we are, but are we playing our part? Are we being bold enough to be able to say yes? And are we even bold enough and saying, if you are saying, no, they are not here, we need this. Have we created that which we think we need? Or are we waiting somebody to create it?
And then we go and
we go fetch.
So there's a part of that, and I mean, you use this word, grooming. I know we've spoken about emerging and all of these. There's a component of, right, not yet ready, which means that there has to be work that is done to prepare them, right, so that they step up.
Spot on.
Now there's an inconvenience, right, that comes with that. Probably we are like, we want someone who's ready, like ready. We don't want to invest in actually cooking. We want to get into a restaurant pre-ordered. The meat is already cooked and we just sit down and we get it. If we continue like with that mentality, I always think about, I don't know how many years, a lot of executives that we have, still have in the sector. And if we don't have the patience to actually cook the pots, when everyone leaves, and that time is actually not too far out, 10 years, 20 years, some of the names that we look up to will no longer be there. And when we don't do that, from a sustainability perspective, sustaining transformation, sustaining even that knowledge base, right, moves out. So what is it about us that does not want to cook? We want microwave. We just want them ready. Let the financial services, sector build them up, and then we'll grab them. Why are we? Is it impatience? Is it short-sightedness? What is it?
Look, I mean, I'll tell you something that actually, I mean, there's a saying that I saw last week that says sometimes, it says sometimes convenience is easy now and disciplined is difficult for later, right? But if you turn disciplined for later, if you stuck with discipline, you make convenient even easier later, right? But let me tell you what is the result of what you're saying. That's a result of microwave restaurant easy now. You always get what is done for you by somebody else. You will never get what you want in a manner that you wanted. And you are, you know what? You cannot be expected. You can't complain because you never worked on it, right? So you'll always get, you'll get the
available
taste of the taste and the spices of somebody else that they have put in the meal. You'll get what's in the menu. You will never be able to create your menu.
Recipe.
It's not your recipe. It's not your menu. It's not the way that you want it. So you can't stand up and say, oh no, they are not like this. Or they don't have that. Or the youth of today they don't have it because what did you do about it? They didn't. You did nothing about it. They didn't have it. They don't have it because you were not. I mean, look at the Tutuka model. The Tutuka. The reason why you've got these chartered accountants, of which some of them, and you're having a lot of black accountant, it's because they gave the Tutuka model. They say we're gonna train our own.
Yeah.
We're gonna put them through schools. We're gonna and continues. But let me also tell you the results of what actually that. I mean, at WITS, we've got a faculty they call it a School of Built Environment. And we never had one. We had Sam that came, Azusu, Sam, and he started the School of Built Environment. And that school ran for a little while. That school only had foreigners. There were no local people. We had to intentionally, I mean, we were going through, I mean, some of the master students, they say, please do PhD. And they said, oh, this one is good for academic and this one's. And it was only through that. And we had to be purposeful to do that because so that some of them could start to go into adverts to be able to be part of the school.
Yeah.
And we don't have so many. You know that we don't have so many of the universities that have built environment as a faculty or as a school, right? Only a few. So, and most of them, by the way, that were there have gone. Had we not purposefully even got some of the locals to start working and being part of that. I mean, I remember when Sam didn't even have a pen and he was looking for pieces of paper. We were going all around asking, and we had to work at it. But Sam is no longer, went back. And yes, he's in good contact. And thanks, Sam, wherever you are for the work that you've laid. And now the school runs and continues to run as a faculty. But it's just one of the many examples that says, if you don't purposefully do something, you will never get. So imagine if we didn't have even that school we wouldn't be talking about the learners that have gone to WITS. Yes. And now, yes, you've got. So the point is, if you want, and in a manner that, and it's actually for now, it's even more important and more critical than ever before because things are moving very quickly.
Yeah.
If you don't do and be deliberate about what you want in the manner in which you want it, you're going to always get what somebody else will do. So basically, you're going to be remote controlled by somebody. How do we want them? We want it like this. How do we want these people? We want them thinking like this. So what do we have in our curriculum? We will teach them this. How will we do it? We will do it like this. So if you end up being somebody that you are not meant to be or who you that's not where I was going.
Yeah.
It was because you gave somebody the remote control and say, here it is. Please find a way of taking me wherever you want. So I think our sector
has to be more intentional about building what it wants.
What it wants in a manner in which it wants, how we want it to be translated, the approach in which we want to use. And I think we also need to walk away from that mentality. And look, I mean, we are not too bad, but there's also a little bit of I mentality. We need to start to being very collaborative. We need to start working together. We take pride in little things that, oh, I did that. I did that. I think we need to kind of be the collaborative mentality needs to be more glued.
Absolutely.
In order for us to achieve more. And in order for those little and limited resources to go even a little bit further. So I think that's what we need to do. We are not too bad though. I've seen worse mentalities. We tend to actually look at them. Who's doing what? Oh, they do. Oh, let me follow. So, but the point is that it does not mean sometimes even those that are leading in certain things or those that have always been big in certain things are doing the right thing. I think we need to be intentional about where are we going and what we need as a group. And I'll tell you, and we fortunate that our sector belongs to a theater that happens to be one of the biggest theaters in the country. We need to use it correctly. Yes, and maybe there may not have been a lot of other things. So we talk about skill development. How do we use even the theaters that we have? How can we use that correctly in order to define what we want, where we're going, how we're going? Even for me, I would say even starting to have that conversation. That conversation, because look, lecturers have got a tendency of just dusting dust out of their old notes and carrying on every time.
Yeah.
But the question is, as a business that is in the sector, what are the things that you think will be leading the sector in the future? And if we did that deliberately and we had learners that came out of the system and they've got everything you needed, that you want, that really embodies where you are going as a sector, wouldn't you employ them? You would, right? So that means there would be no unemployed graduates. But it all goes back to curriculum, right? To saying some of the lecturers just dusting off dust of old notes. Shouldn't we have that conversation?
Yeah.
What should be in the curriculum? How should it look like? What will it translate to? If it does, trust me, I have no doubt in my mind.
We would be absorbing them.
Yes, I have no slightest doubt in my mind that every single one of those graduates that are coming, if they spoke to where any company is going, the vision of the company where it's going, nobody will say, I don't want you. They will all be absorbed. They will all be working. And they will all, maybe absorbed in working, whether absorbed in a form of being an employee or coming
starting
up with entrepreneurship that feeds into this business in whichever form. We will all feed into it. The question now is that they have something, you don't have this.
But they are not ready.
Yes, you're not ready. What is that ready? That they're missing.
And how do we
something
get them
about
ready?
It?
Yes.
Who's doing something about it? What is that ready? That is not there, that we don't have. So somebody needs to find out, what are they missing? What are they lacking? Actually, we could as we sit, we could actually make them even better than we are.
Yeah.
We can make them better than even the current CEOs that are there. Yes, they may have the experience, but they must have everything else that we don't have other than experience that will come with time. And by the way, sometimes experience, you don't have to go through it to have it, right? You can get it and learn from somebody else that have gone through without the pitfalls.
Yeah.
So what is it that we're missing? Why can't it be taught? Let's identify. Have we even sat down to actually discuss that? Have we sat down to even said, what are they missing anything? Is somebody missing? What should we do about it? And including, maybe pull in TVETs with a lot of, our shopping centers, our malls. We do a lot of landscape architects, plumbing, electricity. So a lot of those trade occupations we need, right, in our sector. Have we talked about how we need it in a form in which we needed it and so on and so on, other than the fact that, no, he's not good. What is he missing? What did he learn? Were we ever part of what we wanted? No, when we do apartments, we do boilers, we don't do geysers, or have we ever contributed even in those trades of where our future is going? We know residential is growing, getting much bigger. What makes it more convenient? Space management. People are not living in big spaces anymore. What makes it more convenient to be like this and not like that? We talk about social housing, that people are not taught how to live. To flush a whole pillow or iprai ashes on the toilet. Maybe they have not been taught. I've never
how to use this thing.
Yes. I've only lived in a shack, so you give me a social housing to go live in. I'm lazy to go put what I did my braai with, so I put it in the toilet. But that means I'm blocking like 14 other floors below me.
Sure.
That's what they do. They take the ash of the braai, as opposed to go throwing it in the bin, it goes into the thing.
And it goes back to that thing about common sense, right?
Which is not common to everyone.
Yes. We just assume that we should know these things because we do. So everyone should know them.
Yeah.
But perhaps we were taught. Maybe we didn't sit in a class and they said, well, you need to, you can't flush these things. But the reality is that it was taught in some form.
Yeah, but remember what we were taught.
It's not passed down. Yes.
Some people never had the luxury
of being in that classroom.
Yes, never had the luxury. You and I say, we're going to come out here and have options of an ATM to go.
Yeah.
Where to go.
And we have expectations of people who are coming from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the question of people that are servicing the public sector. And I always ask the question and say, oh no, then the toilet seat is missing. It says, but these people, I mean, I'm also from a township. We are Tipkloof. I'm from the, how come somebody takes us? Who are these people? Why? I mean, I still haven't answered the question, Kuls. I haven't answered the question because I don't understand. I said, I mean, I'm from there. I'm from a township. Yes, I may have studied wherever. It doesn't matter. But I mean, who takes a seat? Who takes that tap and leaves the water spraying? And of course, we know it does happen.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is missing? What is that we still need to do? Because all we will ever do, unless if also we confront this, is complain.
Sure. So when someone thinks about you, what are the 3 things that you would want them to, I mean, let's say you've moved on, you're doing something else, or even, 10 years after you have left, this world, what are the 3 things that you would want someone to think of when they think of Portia?
I mean, we've done a lot, or I would like to think we've done a lot on a very peripheral level, right? And things such as Scorecard, yes, we translated, and we can talk about where we are in transformation that has moved. But one deep thing for me that we need to do and need to continue to do, and it's something that we would never stop.
Yeah,
is to be able to that purposefulness of shifting minds, shifting minds, that even people start questioning their way of what they were thinking and understanding of that transformation, because it will go long beyond where Portia would have been.
Yeah.
If we go and you've shifted the mind and the understanding of what this transformation means, it goes beyond the scorecard for 2023, 2024, 2025. And people start to understand what it would take. And for me, what I would like is being able to get people to start thinking about transformation very differently, to even challenge their own thoughts about what it means.
Yeah.
Because that's when we will shift the country. If we do, and everybody is included and is part of the hardcore economy of our country and is included in many ways, and I'm hoping it just goes beyond the property sector, but I'm saying I, because if we all say I, it means everybody will be. But we do that in that manner that they start to think and they realize, I may be uncomfortable, but it is the truth. If you are able, and I was able to do that in many ways. For us, it's not just about something that is real, something that is here today now, but it's a long-lasting shift that will hold our economy in a proper space. And not only just do that, it will then cascade to next generations, to be able to say, the next generations will be able to say, now here we are, we just need to, and we would have leveled the playing field. And by the way, by then, probably we will not even be talking transformation because those minds would have been shifted. The right people would have been. But you cannot continue remember our skill development, our education, our training was just done, especially for the previously disadvantaged, just to come and support the system, not to be part of the hardcore system. Please come and be able to support me when I do the real work. Be in the periphery, not in the hardcore work. Now, if we are able to shift and be able to say, you know what? You are a very key component of what we need to do in order to move that economy forward, rather than sit in the periphery, then we would have shifted. So if we can change the culture, and by the way, it comes in very subtle biasness. It's subtle and it's not loud. It's very silent. It comes in a manner that says, Kulula, the industry has always been that way. Why change it? It comes in a manner that it works that way. That's what it is. And it's not loud. It's very subtle, almost to a point that even they believe it. So when you start, it's about challenging those things that come in a very subtle manner. The industry says, and I always say, even when you play Monopoly, when you play Monopoly, even if you change Elof Street, and you call Shabalala, if you don't change the rules of the game, Monopoly remains Monopoly. You can change the streets and whatever. So it's about creating that subtle mind shift, the culture of how everybody thinks and sees this thing. Because it's always about taking something out of pocket, giving it somebody else. But changing that change in a manner that we all create a shift in our own mind. And by the way, sometimes in a lot of time, you have to create a discomfort in order to unravel the white elephant and then deal with it. Because in the comfort zone, and I always say, and I found myself in that situation where in a lot of open spaces, they discuss the issue, right? They discuss transformation. And they say, no, we agree, it's sorted out. But the real proper transformation, that discussion happens at another table, not where you are. And sometimes you have to find where that table is. And by the way, that table, you are not invited at that table. And when you find that table, you're going to have to go find a seat and invite yourself to that table. That's where the real decisions are made. When you are made, we are, no, we agree. And because it just sounds nice. And it sounds convenient. It's just nobody will say no to it, right? They'll say yes. And then they all agree. And then when they go back, they do a different thing altogether. So, but then the real discussion about what we will do, it's not at that table, it's another table.
On the other table.
It's another table. And by that other table, you are not invited. So it's sometimes being able to find that other table. And when you find it, go to find sometimes even a camp chair when everybody else is sitting on the couch. Because you are not invited. Find a camp chair, invite yourself into that table, pull yourself into that conversation, and be able to talk the real things that will create the mind shifts.
Sure. Okay, now as we close, there's a question from our previous guest, and it goes, in the work you do, what was the most unexpected barrier that you experienced, and what did it teach you?
Yeah, and I think it relates to what I was saying. So the barrier is not in individuals. The biggest barrier is in the system. It's in the system. It's in the culture in which people do things, and it's so silent that you don't even see it. It's having to deal and dig that which you need to shift, that you sometimes don't even know where it comes from. And probably they're subconscious, and it's not their business to find out why I think the way I do. I just know that I do. It's my business. It's my mom's business. I grew up with this business. They gave it to me. So why must I change it?
Yeah.
Now, being able to find that system, that subtle, deal with it in a subtle. So you're dealing with a lot of systems that are not in the surface. You have to always go beyond the surface to find where the real connection is. And if I'm going to disconnect, how do I disconnect? And when you do disconnect, where do I connect? And what stakeholders do I have? I mean, one of the things is about, even in stakeholders, is it necessary? I mean, we talk a lot in transformation.
Yeah.
And I still feel that talking is still necessary, right? You still need to talk. Where the difficulty about talking is about, is it translating to anything that is impactful, that is positively impactful to the life. So it's about being able to be accountable to do that real, the talking translate to transformation. I still feel that in stakeholder, you still need to engage because running all by yourself, I always said we were not the first one to even gazette our charter, maybe because the speed was not the issue, but rather pulling everybody along was actually the essence of what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I think in our system is about dealing with those systems, how we deal with those systems. How do we entrench a lot of what has been done in the system become part of the businesses in the property sector? How does any of this big organization make that part of the culture? So you can't even talk about it. Sometimes, yes, you may need to use individuals to get through to the system, but sometimes the main hardcore is the system. And when you get into the system, it's things that are there that are not visible. How do you start to unpack and be able to shift them and change them so that you can really make the impact that you really want to see? Does it take long? No doubt it will. It's not overnight. It was never a sprint. It will always be a marathon.
Yeah.
Do I need to pull everybody along? Oh, without a doubt, you would need to pull everybody along. So the collaboration becomes important. So I'm proud about in our sector, and as much as yes, we may not have moved at the pace that we wanted, in a manner that we wanted, the one thing for sure that you can't take away from is that we've actually had at least the courage to stand and be able to be together to discuss these things. And those that choose to be left out of the engagement and discussion, yes.
Yeah.
And were all the discussion comfortable? Hell no, they were not discussion. They were not always comfortable. But you had room and opportunity that is safe enough to voice your views and to be able to, and we would deal with those views. And in terms of, yes, no, that target is too much. Oh no, we can't deal with it. Or why is it? You were comforted. But not to take away the fact of, oh no, nobody will actually let you just come up with a target because it's just comfortable for you. No. So we were robust enough and we were deliberate enough and we were vibrant enough to challenge any views as well, to support what you're saying. It's not just from the air. So I think for me, it was having to deal, not just it's the systems, how to deal with, finding approach, getting to a point where people get, you are able to get to the depth of what actually makes them uncomfortable to do what we need them to do. Being able to find and navigate your way to find where the uncomfortable or the real table is. And finding a seat and the courage to get the seat and sit here, even say, but you were not invited. So, well, I'm here. And I've arrived. And
let's
carry
talk.
On. Let's talk. What was that? What did you say? And take it up and pick it up, that as uncomfortable as it may be. Those are the real things. I think for me, those are the difficulties that you then need to be dealing with. I mean, don't be comfortable about, oh no, they said yes at the meeting. Because sometimes we do it to grandstand, right? We do it because it looks good, and oh damn, I won't be caught saying no publicly in that kind of a conversation. I must be seen to be saying the right things. But how do you get not things that are for grandstanding and publicly? You get the real stuff, take that real stuff, translate it to positive impact that you can truly make. So I think for me, those are the difficult things. The easy part is talking to somebody, calling them and say, let's do let's do it. And then it hasn't happened 5 years later. It's because you haven't really touched the sore part. You're scratching the part that was never itching, and that's why we haven't done anything. So why the point? So it's about getting to those parts, getting to the uncomfortable part, unraveling the white elephant sometimes in the room that is uncomfortable, and also having the courage to deal with the discomfort and finding a comfort and a spot to agree on certain things. Sometimes say, we may not agree, but we agree on this part, right? And we're gonna move forward. But you know what it means, and then you have those conversations. That for me is where I've seen real true change. I've seen a lot of people agree with what you say. The agreement, if I were to take those agreement that happens on the surface to numbers, trust me, we are a long way beyond 100 or what way we should be. But it hasn't translated to real to those, right? That's because you haven't touched the real parts. And what are those parts? Identifying those parts, those components that are key, and starting with those most important parts, because you can't do everything. We don't have unlimited resources, capacity, capability. So touch the most important parts, deal with it systematically through components by components, the ones that you can afford to deal with. And hopefully, and with time, if you pull them together, you start to see a difference. But look, I think for me, I'm comfortable that, I know we still have some sectors where people are open enough to actually even tell you that, don't talk transformation to me, you can go fly. So that's, at least we are not in that sector, and our members are not sector, and that should not necessarily make us comfortable that they are not there. But the fact that others are even further away to be able to say, listen,
don't talk to me about that thing.
Not in my garden. Yes, talk to it wherever, not in my garden. So we are there, but now you've passed that point where people know that they can talk about it, but what now? Can we make meaningful change with it? We don't have forever. We don't have you and I, Kulula, sitting here, we have the opportunity today, but this opportunity is not forever to make this change. And you know how our youngsters challenge us. They challenge us in every single way. The way we think, even the way we think about property. I had somebody very recently said, why must I buy something? I don't intend to stay anywhere. I intend to bounce around. I'll be here in Durban, Cape Town. Why must I even buy anything? I just want to be able, when I get my gig hours, they call them gig hours, to do this work, I'll be in PE. In no time, I want to be there and I want to find a space. Why must I pay for a dining room I will never use? You have a house? How many times do you sit in a dining room? No, why must I pay for that? No, I don't need it. All I need is where I keep my safe space. I've got my room that have my personal things. If I need a dining room, you know what? I'll hire it and I'll call my family. We have dinner. And that's the only time I'll pay for it. Anything else I don't need. Why do I need a storeroom? I don't need it in my house. Hey? So those are the kind of challenges. And they challenge us for real. And some of it, it's so real. When people tell you that I don't need a car, actually it says the cost of a car, most of what you're paying for a car is not, it's when you're not using it.
What you need is to be able to move.
To move from one point to another point.
Yes.
That's it. That's all you need. And now if I can do it, less money with an Uber, less money. Why am I paying insurance? Why am I paying for a tracker? Why am I paying? Because I'm not using, it's parked there. Our cars are parked outside and we're paying for it to be parked outside. Most of the time, it's not being used and you are paying for it. Now I need to pay, even in the house, I need to have a garage to park that thing that I don't need. Just because I don't need it, now I need to park it somewhere. Now that house needs to have a garage of something that I want when I'm not using it. So they challenge us in those thoughts. So they say, no. So, and the silly part is, it's likely not to go backwards. It's going to go forward fast and furious very quickly.
And that reshapes the future of property. We have to think about property differently, because who are you doing it for then?
Very differently, very quickly and very differently and very aggressively. And you don't have the luxury of time to say, let me think. I am still thinking what to do.
And you're putting money
and
whilst you're thinking.
While you're putting money. So the shift is going to be very quick. I mean, I just read today how DSTV is in trouble and it's moving because the world has changed. People, and they're saying they're losing all whatever channels that they have partners with, and it's less than half of what it has. And that was actually it's the agility to change. They took too long to change. The world caught up and moved on without them. Now, if that happens as well, not to mention the fact what we spoke about earlier, what are we doing about what we want in the future? Are we doing what we want? And if we don't, we're going to find ourselves where DSTV find themselves, where we don't have customers. They want 1,000 water for a month. People are streaming. They get more whatever from them. So somebody else will offer what the property industry can offer.
Yeah.
If we don't think and shape what we want very quickly and we do it ourselves.
And it's going to be people outside of the property industry.
Yes.
Who are able to think in a nuanced, manner, because I mean, before BlackBerry was overtaken, we were all thinking BlackBerry is the thing. This is the thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, years to come, I'd like to look at this podcast and look at what has changed and what I'm sure you and I will say, but we did talk about things will be changing, right? So, and it is real. And it is real. And you know how time has so overtaken certain things, how long it took for people, I mean, the Hilton to buy hotels and now Airbnb, how long it took. That time is folding. It's folding and things will happen very quickly. So I'm hoping that our industry, we all realize how, one, we need to collaborate, how quickly we need to move, the approach we need to take in a manner that, but we all own it. And because if we don't, I mean, like you say, it may be people outside the industry. Yes, that's where the Uber comes from. It wasn't the transport people. It was the technology people that changed the transport people. So it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Eh? So I think I'm hoping we all embrace the change very quickly, but we do and translate it to the manner. The fortunate thing about property is that it's tangible and it sits in a particular space, right?
Yeah.
It's not something, it's unlike IT is that, where's my laptop? I'm going and I'm gone. And the tangible things about companies that they sometimes have to have a space, right?
Yeah.
But even the way we think about that space has changed. It's no longer, a long time ago, people used to think about spaces in terms of big offices. Now people talk about hot desks. They don't have an office where if I come here today, I find this, that's mine for that day. But I take everything else and I move.
Yeah.
But also home are now home offices, because someday I'm here, someday I'm no longer here. I'm there. But the question is, what now should a home look like? If those things are changing, what should a home look like? Similarly, retail.
Yeah.
What should retail look like if most of the things that we're buying are coming from, we order from wherever we order, it comes and then it just gets delivered to our home? What should future retail look like?
Yeah.
Logistics. What is it that we need to have in logistical deliveries that we need to look like? And it's all of those kind of things that we now seeing that we need to start asking ourselves to shape the future of where we are and where we are going.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us. I think this was a great conversation. I was a student. I hope that as you are sitting and watching, that you are also open-minded and actually learning. Thank you so much, sis.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting us.
Okay.
Yeah, you did say it will go quick, and it did go quick.
It did. Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.